restricted meeting. So please welcome everyone from section 1, 2, and 3. You can see the link to your attendance. So for tonight, we will have 2 attendance. The one for I attend and the other one for the I Ta'lim. Okay, so who is the class rep for section 1 again? Raise up your hand.
Ni Alia kau.
Yes. What do you say? Okay, Nur Fatin, Siti Nur Abdul, M. Rafi'i. Who is this? Who is the class rep for section 1? Only one name.
Doctor, it's me.
Who is me?
Muhammad Haziq Zakwan. The Haziq Z.
Haziq. Okay.
Yes.
Haziq. You go to the participant and you look at your friends who is still not in. You tell me the number.
Sure.
Section 2, who is the section 2 leader? Shazwan? Are you there, Shazwan?
Shazwan.
Are you there, Shazwan? I cannot hear your voice. Can you shout? It's me.
Yes, it's me.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So you go to the participants and look at your friend who are still not in this class. Can you do that?
Okay.
And also, please make sure that you use your real name.
Mana mau tengok nama kita?
What do you say? Okay. Section 3, class rep. Who is the class rep for section 3?
Me, sir.
Who is me?
Umaima.
Umaima. Can you go to the participants and then check who is still not in?
Okay, sir.
I give you class rep 5 minutes to look at who is not in the class. We have 91 people, but now we have 77. I know I can be patient, but it's already 8:34. So if you can be just quick and change your name. Okay. Give the class rep another 3 minutes to go. And maybe you want to call up your friends. I know they might be very angry with me. Maybe they are still accessing the Zoom link. But it's okay, just take your time. No need to rush.
Doctor,
Yes, Umaima. Go on.
many of us cannot attend the attendance.
Why?
Error. Because error. Service error.
What service is error?
Shanu.
What service? Is it error? Laptop service? Car service? What is it? Is it internet?
I think it could be server error, sir. Maybe because many of us try to do it at once.
Okay. No problem. You take your time. We still have time. Just relax. Try to rename yourself. Go to the participant and go to the three dot and click on rename. Okay, I want the real name. And just to let you know that we're gonna have a quiz tonight. So right after we finish the lecture, we will go to the quiz. So make sure that you really focus for this short lecture on hormones. If you got any issues, try to give a shout in the chat box function. If you need anything, if you want to go to the toilet, okay, if you want to leave or anything, just let me know. Okay, Hazik for section 1. You got everyone on board?
That I can't say for sure, sir. I don't remember every name of my classmate, but I did send it to the our group chat, so I hope they join.
Okay. Shazwan, section 2. You got any idea how many left or how many people still not be able to join?
I feel counting. Sorry.
Shazwan, shout. Shazwan,
Wait, doctor, I still counting.
you're still counting.
Sorry, doctor.
You can continue counting. Umaymah is group section 3, right?
Yes.
Any updates on your side?
One from our classmate not joined yet because have Wi-Fi problem.
Water problem? What problem?
Wi-Fi problem. Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. What happened to the Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi got terminated. No?
I don't know, doctor.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, everyone. While waiting for some of your other friends, I think it's best if we can start now, or else we'll be running late. We still got some other things to do tomorrow. Great. Let us find someone who can recite the dua before we start the class. Any volunteer? You can raise up your hand, or let me check. Who is this, Ustaz? Who is this? Awang Kusharizan. Very good. Can you recite louder? Yeah. Thank you for volunteering to recite dua. Go on.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين بحكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك وذكرنا ما نسينا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم اجعلنا من الذين ينظرون الكتاب نظرة واحدة يحفظون ما فيه ويفهمون به ويفقهون به ويعملون به ويبلغون به اللهم إنا استودعتك ما علمتنا فارده إلينا عند حاجتنا ولا تنسنينا يا رب العالمين صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Okay, thank you very much, Awang Kusharizan. It's very nice dua. So let me try to take the slide.
Okay, dah boleh.
Dah boleh dah? Okay, very good. Can you see anything on the screen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
After.
Okay. All right. So after this, we will have quiz. Okay, so make sure you focus on the lectures. Try to write down any possible informations, and we will conduct a quiz online via iTalim, but I will give another instruction for that. And for now, please, if you can go to the chat box function or ask your class rep what is the link for today's attendance. So there are two attendance. One is in the I attend, the link that I give to your class rep. The second attendance is for the quiz. Okay, so the quiz is an official quiz. So make sure that you don't refer to any notes of any kind. Okay, try to answer based on your understanding. It's only very short MCQ questions. And maybe for today, we will have some maybe guests to join us. Try to mute your audio, or else your friends got distracted. All right. So today, this is the replacement class. Actually, we have been discussing this for quite some time. So I couldn't find the best time for us to carry on with the class because I could not come with because I have a few issues. One of my medical condition doesn't allow me to be present at the kuliah. So maybe for this biochemistry class, we will just continue online. So maybe some other classes, we will have it in physical mode. It really depends on my current health. So today we're going to the lecture for week 3, which is hormones under biochemistry. So when we talk about the hormones, what should comes to your mind actually is a protein. It's a type of proteins that functions to signals, that functions to regulate any kinds of activities, any possible physiological activities inside our body. And of course, the hormones can be secreted at many times or at all times or at any specific times by any type of tissues, any type of cells, or any type of organs. So it can be secreted in our blood system, or it can just directly secreted onto the cells or onto the tissues or onto the organs of interest. So for today's focus for hormones, you will learn about the nomenclature, which is the naming. Nomenclature is the name. How do we name it? Okay, based on what criteria? The second one is about the characteristic of the hormones. How do you classify the hormones? What are the chemical characteristics? What are the biological characteristics of these hormones? So you want to know that too. And finally, the most important part, which is the functions. So focus on the functions. Each of these proteins or each of these hormones have their own functions to regulate the activities of your bodies. For example, when you are going to sleep tonight, so what type of hormones are highly upregulated and allow for you to feel like very relaxed and you want to go to sleep? All right. And if you are, when I mentioned that we are going to have a quiz in maybe 1 hour from now, so what would be the hormones? Maybe you get some adrenaline rush. So you feel like, oh no, why I was not being informed about this before. So you feel like, so your cells, your tissues start to sense the signals. It sends a signal to any kind of tissues that functions to secrete the adrenaline to you. Another name of adrenaline is the epinephrine. So it kind of giving this signal to your system, and it started to activate some other subsystem. Okay, because the functions of the hormones is not only specific, but at some point it can also act on some other system too, kind of two functions or multi-functions type of hormones. Okay, so in this slide I showed you some of the important organs, anatomical organs, plus the type of hormones, but not the functions yet. Okay, if you can see in the brain, we have pineal gland that secretes melatonin. Melatonin is another hormone that is functions for inducing or stimulating the sleeping mode of your body. Okay, so after this, maybe now you already feeling asleep, but that's fine. It means that the melatonin is upregulated. They are highly activated at this time point. But when the suns start to rise early in the morning, when you wake up for tahajjud or qiyamul layl, I hope so, okay, you will find that the melatonin secretion will be decreasing. All right, so it's always up and down. If you mention about the hormones, it's always about the regulation. Which one is up during this time? Which one is going down at this time point? All right, so the next organs is the or tissues is the hypothalamus. It produce or secreting the TRH, CRH, GHRH, dopamine, somatostatin, vasopressin. So this is very specific hormones that been secreted by these very tiny tissues. We call it hypothalamus of the brain. The third one is the pituitary. It secreted the GH, TSH, ACTH, FSH, MSH, LH, prolactin, oxytocin, and also vasopressin. So these three tissues is very important because they are secreting different type of hormones, and different type of hormones means they are exerting different types of functions. We will go into the functions later, but we go to the tissues one by one. All right, so thyroid and parathyroids just right in front of your neck. So there's a tiny gland there, so that's function to produce your T3, T4, calcitonin, and also the PTH. You have the thymus in between your bronchus, and then it secretes thymopoietin. Okay, so there are lots of nomenclatures or the naming. Sometimes they put it TRH, CRH, HH at the back. It refers to the hormones, but you also need to memorize, okay, using your own effort to get to know the full name of this. Okay, it might be asked in the exams too. All right, so the liver functions their own hormones. The adrenal, which is situated on top of your kidneys, left and right kidneys. The kidney itself produce another type of hormone. If you are female, you are having uterus that can secrete prolactin. If you are male, then you will have these testes that produce the androgens, estradiol and inhibin. And one of the most important tissues is the pancreas of your body. It functions to secrete insulin and glucagon. They are highly correlated between each other. The insulin try to reduce the blood glucose level, whereas the glucagon increase it. Okay, really depends. If you are having hypoglycemic condition, you have glucagon to increase it back to a normal level. So it always up and down, and how your body regulate this homeostasis. If one of these hormones are failed to maintain these up and down at a normal balance, what will happen is that you will have certain complications or diseases might occur. All right, so thanks to Allah that you are now happy and you are now okay, because this is all by Allah's will. You don't have your own capability to maintain your own hormones. Maybe around us we have, okay, these some hormonal disturbances. Okay, now the objective is the introduction. I will show you the target cell concept. How do we classify the hormones based on the colors here? the diversity of the endocrine system, how it gets transported to other location, how the hormones functions in signaling some other functions of some other tissues, and what is the method that we can metabolize, how it's been degraded in our system. Can we recycle the hormones or not? Can we just use it again and again non-stop, or it gets degraded by time, right? So we want to know about that. In this figure, if you can see, Mimi, are you okay there? Mimi, you still alive? Are you struggling? Okay, I just help you to mute your audio, okay? If you got any issues or you cannot concentrate, just let me know. So in this figure, you can see that the hypothalamus is kind of the overarching tissues. That's the main tissues in the brain. That is the mother of hormonal regulation. It regulates all the downstream activities of hormones. So you look at the hypothalamus, it have a direct control by nervous system. And you can see the neurons in red. Can you see that? Not sure if I can annotate it. Can you see here? Can you see?
Yes.
Can I draw? Yeah, can you see here?
Yes.
Let me check if I can draw. I'm not sure. Can you see here? Yes.
The drawing? No,
Yeah.
not yet, sir. Now we can, yes.
You can see in blue, right? So these red neurons is having a direct control. Sorry, the hypothalamus gets connected with some other organs like the adrenal medulla, okay, which is adrenal gland on top of the kidney. Okay, it means that the neurons extended its arm, okay, its tail directly onto the adrenal gland, and then they can secrete the hormone directly. All right. The second one here, if you look at the pituitary, this is the pituitary gland. I draw it in blue. Yes, can you see it? We have two lobes or two sides of the pituitary gland. The anterior lobe of pituitary gland, it secretes all the one in purple. Okay, all the hormones in purple. So these main hormones secreted by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland can later act on the other organs like adrenal medulla, thyroid gland, or bone or muscle, some other tissue, mammary gland, testes, and ovaries, all in purple. All right, so this is the first level hormones that they can act on the certain tissues, and later on what happens is that these tissues or organ will later produce another type of hormones to activate another type of tissues. So it's a multi-step process. You might need more than two hormones to activate a certain cascade or certain signaling pathways. Okay, so the anterior lobe gives rise or secretes the one in purple. But if you look at the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, which is at the back, you can see it's a direct release of hormones. Okay, they're producing the ADH and oxytocin, and also at some point the MSH in gray. Okay, but focus on the ADH and oxytocin for the green one. So both anterior and posterior lobe of pituitary receive the information from the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the mother of the hormonal regulation, where it directs the information to the pituitary gland, and then pituitary gland can decide what type of hormones that they're gonna release, and after that they will start from there to activate some other tissues or organs. So the key to pituitary hormones, I put it there. If you can see the full name, if it's ACTH, it's adrenocorticotropic hormones. TSH is thyroid stimulating hormones. GH is growth hormones. Prolactin, FSH, follicle stimulating hormones, and luteinizing hormones. They are all in purple, are secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, whereas the antidiuretic hormones and oxytocin are being secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So far, can you follow the lecture? Is everything good so far? Yes, or you want more explanation?
So far, okay.
So far, okay.
Doctor, I might need more explanation. If that's okay with
Okay.
you.
You want more explanation?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Because a little bit explanation will be described in the next couple of slides, okay? So what I want to show you is the overview of what we are going to study tonight. We start with the hypothalamus, okay? It's the main center for controlling all the signals that will happen to your body, because your body need to activate a certain activity for you to function. If the hormones cannot give any signals to your body, how is it impossible? How is that possible for you to function? You cannot blink your eyes. You cannot feel hungry. You cannot sleep. All right. This is all being controlled by the hormones. Okay. So each type of hormones being secreted by each very specific organs or tissues. What I'm telling you today is that the hypothalamus gives signal to pituitary gland, and pituitary gland will decide any type of hormones, and this specific type of hormones will act on the tissues, okay, that I have listed here, and then they start to give the functions. We are not going to discuss the function yet, okay? As we go through, then you will see the differences and also more explanation. Okay, so, or maybe I need to delete. Not sure if I can delete. So clear. So I'll try to clear all drawing first. Okay. All right. So the metabolic process within a given cells are frequently regulated by signals, as I told you before, and the hormones functions through a system. We call it as the endocrine system. In the endocrine system, we have accumulations or group of cells that stuck together. For example, you have liver. So the liver is the organs, but it's constituted of several tissues that comes together, and several tissues come together or originated from cells. Okay, so it started from cells, give rise to the tissue and become bigger as a organs, and these organs communicate with each other to form the system. The same goes with the endocrine system. When we talk about the endocrine system, it refers to the system that regulates the productions of hormones, how the hormones activate the tissues, how hormones activate the cells. So this is the things that you need to know. Okay, as we go along. So the endocrine system functions to produce all these hormones, and it can regulate the increasing and also decreasing levels of these hormones. So as I mentioned earlier, the hypothalamus is the overarching tissues that functions to give an initial signals, and most of the time it gives the signal to the pituitary gland, and this pituitary gland will further disseminate the information, or they pass on the information to the next tissues based on the specific hormones that they have secreted. Okay, so the hormones is a Greek term that means to arouse to activity, start to initiate the activity. And classically, if you look at the definition, the hormones is actually the protein. Okay, it's been secreted by one organ or tissues that later on been transported into the circulatory system, and they can further activate another tissues. Okay, and the hormone is a part of the endocrine system. If you look in the picture that I have provided, you can see that the blood carries many hormones. So in your blood system, in your blood, you can have epinephrine, you can have insulin, you can have glucagon. So this is also part of endocrine system. And the hormones that has been secreted in this blood vessel, they will travel to a specific location to exert a certain specific function. For example, if in the case of hyperglycemic, for example, okay, this is very simple because this is the common things that happen to us. Once you have your lunch, for example, you're taking a food and immediately within a few seconds and few minutes, you get rise in the blood glucose level. So what happened is that your body system, the hypothalamus, start to get signal, to get information about this activity, and they will send this information to the pancreas to produce the insulin. So what happened is that the pancreas will produce the insulin in order to reduce the amount of glucose in your blood. Okay, in case of the pancreas unable to secrete this insulin, you will have this hyperglycemic condition. Okay, maybe you will have the symptoms, you start to have a headache, you have a blurry vision, you cannot function properly. All right, so it's very important for you to understand that the insulin secreted by the pancreas is actually controlled by this whole endocrine system. In other words, it maintains a normal regulations of your biological activities and also homeostasis. If you look at the picture again here, there are endocrine cells that secrete a certain molecules in green, some of them in red, some of them in blues. They kind of mix with each other, but exactly because they are very specific in terms of the activity due to presence of special recognition site, or maybe they have this receptor, so they will just only bind to the receptor of certain specific organs. Okay, so even though they mixed up in the blood, but their identity is preserved. They will not get confused later on. Okay, so what are the hormones? As I mentioned earlier, it's a type of proteins. It can be a combination of protein and lipids. It can be lipid based, you name it. Okay, so there are lots of different type of hormones. They are not only from proteins. Some of them lipids based, like steroids, estrogens, androgens, mineral corticoids. You got like the peptide based or protein based, like insulin, okay, endorphins. So some of them also being built up or being synthesized based on a very special small molecules, like very short derivatives of amino acid. For example, epinephrine and norepinephrine. They are not very big protein molecules. Okay, they just like very small amino acid groups. Okay, so that can also be named as the hormones. So generally what we can say is that the hormones, they maintain your body activity, your biological needs, okay, your biological activities of your body. For example, making your blood glucose level in place. Okay, they can also acting to the external stimuli. For example, as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna have a quiz in maybe 40 minutes from now. So immediately, you got nervous for it. So this is fight or flight response. So this is being controlled by the hormones. So apart from that, the hormone also regulates your growth and development. Since you are a baby, since you're in the womb, since you come into existence, the hormones already playing a role. Okay, especially when the sperm, okay, early in your existence, the sperm get fertilized into the with the egg. So at that time point already started with all these hormonal regulations. All right. So this is some figures to illustrate the activities. Okay, now we're talking about the functions. As I mentioned earlier, we are not talking only about the nomenclature, how you name it, all this fancy what we call it, acronyms. Okay, we also interested in the function of hormones. There's no point if you memorize all these ACTH, DSH, you remember all the full name, but you're lost about the actual function of this hormone. So my advice is, it's good if you can memorize the acronym plus the sources, means what type of tissues or cells or organs that secreting them, plus the function of each specific hormones. All right. So here is the most important slide, I think, for tonight, for you to get to know what is the nomenclature. Okay, the CRF is the polypeptide based hormones. It's considered as the protein hormones. It's been secreted by the hypothalamus, and its functions is to stimulate release of ACTH. It means that the hypothalamus secretes CRF, and this CRF will further stimulate the release of another hormones, which is the ACTH. Okay. The second example is that the gonadotropin releasing factor, GnRF. So the hypothalamus secretes GnRF, and this GnRF further stimulate the release of another hormone. We call it FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and also LH, which is luteinizing hormones. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, you know that this is being colored in purple color, that indicates that they are being released by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. The next example is thyrotropin releasing hormone, TRF, also together with the GRF, growth hormone releasing hormones. They are being secreted by the hypothalamus to secrete the TSH and also growth hormones respectively. Okay, so further down you can see anterior pituitary, okay, posterior pituitary, okay, up to this time, up to this point. Let me try to annotate it. If you can see, so here is the anterior pituitary. All right, so that's the anterior lobe. And if I can draw another one, here is the posterior. Let me check. Show how to undo. Maybe clear. Okay, so up to this point is the anterior, and this one is posterior. So the posterior, if you remember, it's in green color last time. It's been secreted. It's secreting the vasopressin and oxytocin. However, for the anterior, they secrete more. Hence, the structure anatomically, you can find it's a bit bigger, means more activities or more functions. All right. So the main focus is that you need to know the ACTH and immediately what did they do. For example, here they are releasing adrenocorticosteroid hormones, and of course, from the name, you know that this is the lipid-based hormones, right? Thyrotropin secreting or releasing thyroxine, FSH secreting, stimulates ovulation and estrogen synthesis. FSH in testes stimulates spermatogenesis, and LH, it stimulates estrogen and progesterone synthesis in ovaries. However, in testes, it stimulates androgen synthesis. All right. So you can see the methencaphaline, leuencaphaline, beta endorphin, all of them has a opioid effects on the nervous system. Opioids is related with the sensory of the pain. Okay, it kind of masking your pain sensor. If you got like something, some cuts or some injury, so you find that okay, maybe these hormones functions to get secreted onto the central nervous system, and you will get notified on this. Okay, so this is how your body respond to this. You have the insulin that antagonize the activity of glucagon. Insulin reduce the blood glucose, however, glucagon increase, okay, the blood glucose level. That's all for the polypeptide hormones. If you look at the steroid hormone, you can find the glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and estrogen and androgen. You can see also amino acid derivative like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and thyroxine. And please make sure you know what are the functions, because we're gonna have a quiz after this, right? So far, how is it, everyone? Can you follow? Can you follow the lecture? Is everything good? You need more explanation?
Clear, Doctor.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Doctor,
Yes.
can you explain the apa? The difference between polypeptides, steroids, and amino acid derivative?
Yes, of course I can. Let me check if I can share the screen again. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You still online? Can you see the slide or not?
No.
No, Doctor.
Yeah, no.
No. Now can you see the slide?
Yes.
How about now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So mainly there are three different types of hormones, okay, based on the synthesis or based on the structure. Some hormones are protein, made up of protein. Some hormones are made up of lipid. So the steroid ones is made up from the lipid. The polypeptide hormones, they are made up from the proteins, like insulin, glucagon, they are made from the proteins. However, there are some smaller protein structure. Okay, we call it as amino acid derivative. So this type of hormones, they are very short and they're very unique because they are very lightweight, very small, and they can travel very fast. Because if Allah makes these hormones polypeptide, very big structure of protein, okay, they cannot function very well. It cannot be secreted in your blood that fast. Because the epinephrine, like amino acid derivative, it functions to alert your body system, to increase your blood pressure. If you are under emergency case, if you are nervous, if you got anxiety. So this type of epinephrine has been made in a very small molecule, so that once the body need it, it can just give signal to your body. Like, for example, you saw a wild dog, okay, when you coming from mahalla, maybe in clear of nursing, one day you come early to the school, and then one, wild dogs is staring at you, and just stood up, and you just like feel what I'm gonna do now, to run or to stay. Suddenly the wild dog start to move one step, and then you start trembling. Okay, you start getting frightened because of that kind of movement. So immediately your body, okay, react to this by producing the epinephrine. So what type of tissue is producing epinephrine? Is adrenal gland. It's adrenal gland producing the epinephrine to tell your body that, okay, quickly produce epinephrine in the bloodstream so that we can increase the blood pressure. We can increase the heart rate and get ready to run fast and fast. Okay, so this is how your body responds to it. All right, so the epinephrine, norepinephrine, they are very small molecule. You know that the protein made up of the amino acid. Okay, and protein have very various type of structure. We have the primary protein, very short. We have secondary protein structure. We have the tertiary. We have the quaternary structure, which become bigger and bigger. But all of this structure, all of this protein structure originated from the small sequence of amino acid. All right, so epinephrine has been made up in a very short strand so that it can be easily transported into the bloodstream for a quicker response. But for polypeptides hormones, also made from proteins, but combination of few proteins like insulin and glucagon, they are very big protein, and then will take some time for them to reach the bloodstream and also give effect. All right, that's why if you eat something later on, maybe half an hour, you will get hyperglycemic, not immediately. If you take what is healthy food nowadays? Takoyaki, is it? Takoyaki, what is it? I'm not sure. Not fan of that one. Takoyaki. Yes, maybe you're fan of that kind of food. Yeah. So once you get takoyaki, so you feel that it's very tasty, full of salt, very nice, right? But then in half an hour later, you feel like, you got very thirsty. Okay, you got maybe sweating, you got lazy. This is all the effect of the hormones, because the insulin now is available in your bloodstream. You are getting hypoglycemic now, but you don't control this because your body have their automatic regulation to bring it down after some time. All right. But some uncontrolled, of course, uncontrolled intake of sugar, okay, food, maybe it can lead to disturbance in the hormones activity. All right, so there's always a feedback inhibition. As I mentioned, for example, the closest or the easiest example, insulin produced by the pancreas to get your blood glucose level going down. All right. But in case of you are hungry, for example, during the fasting period, during Ramadan, you keep on thinking on that, takoyaki in front of the TMG or somewhere else, maybe your friend made it, okay, maybe in your hometown, but I'm fasting now. So, your body craving for it, okay, you don't have any sugar in your blood. So now you are in the state of hypoglycemia. It means your blood sugar level is very low. So how your body responds to it? They need an innovation or stimulus from the hormones. For example, the glucose. Okay, sorry, not glucose. The glucagon. Okay, another hormones that antagonize the activity of insulin. What the glucagon did was they bring up the glucose level in your blood. Okay, in case of during Ramadan, you are very, very hungry. So you are deprived of this essential sugar, because without sugar, your body cannot function. You need some type of energy. You need this glucose for your body to degrade them and turn them into an ATP. So the ATP is your source of energy. Okay, so always when we talk about the hormones, they're always the one that activates and the other one is inhibiting it. Okay, so that they can maintain a normal level or balance of hormonal level. Okay, some people maybe have disturbances in this activity, and we can discuss this further. Okay, so this is to summarize from the central nervous system. What I say, why did I say central nervous system? Because it's the main relay center for your body to function. You don't function with your heart. You don't function with your eyes. You don't function with your foot. You function with your brain. So all the essential information are originated from the central nervous system or the brain. Hence, the hormones also been considered as one of the molecules that has been controlled by the brain or by the central nervous system. Okay, and these, once you got the innervation, stimulation, activation, stimulus from the outer source or from anything, so this information will be passed down onto the hypothalamus, and it will start to activate or give this signal to the associated tissues, for example, anterior and posterior pituitary, and then they will have these specific hormones. Okay, this is a step-by-step process for the hormones. As I mentioned earlier, if you remember the red neurons that act on the adrenal medulla at the kidney, so that neurons extended from the hypothalamus directly onto the hypothalamus. That is also possible. The one that we discuss here is the indirect. Indirect means from the central nervous system to act, okay, for the hormones from the hypothalamus or from the central nervous system to act on your bone. Okay, there is no direct effect. I mean the process should comes in steps. Okay, for example, the hypothalamus will secrete GRF, which is growth hormone, growth releasing factor. GRF will act on the anterior pituitary, one step. And then the anterior pituitary will then release the growth hormone. The growth hormone will then act on the bone, and then they will extend your bone, and then you can get bigger and taller. Same goes with some other. Okay, it's a multi-step process. That is how your body control your hormones. Okay, so this is just to summarize what I have mentioned earlier. We have the green one, and also you have the red one, which is the activation or secretion. The other side is the inhibition. You don't want to get too high. You don't want them to get too low. The regulation of hormones must be balanced. All right, so we call it as the feedback control. Okay, we call it a feedback control. Feedback means if someone asks for you for your feedback, what should you do? You give back the answer. Feedback means I feed you and you give back to me. So it's two-way communication. Same goes like the hormones. If one part of the hormones functions to give the hormones or to release the hormones to increase the level or certain activity, the other part also can come and also reduce its level. Okay, it's a feedback mechanism, we call it, or feedback control. This is the chemical natures of the hormones. The chemical natures of hormones is that they play roles in the cell signaling. You have one single cell, you have tissues, you have the organs. They need to communicate with the neighboring organs or tissues or cells. So let's just use the cells to indicate this. So for example, your pancreatic cells of the pancreas wants to communicate with the liver. Okay, how do they communicate? Of course, through the bloodstream, and inside the bloodstream, the pancreas will release the hormones. Okay, and that is the kind of information that the liver will receive. Like you and me right now, we are online platform. Okay, we are communicating each other. All right, so the Zoom platform is kind of hormones that integrates or that relate, that give the information for you to receive, and also for you to give again the feedback to me. So it's the communication stuff, and that is how your body start to function. Without communication, you cannot function. Can you stay alone without talking, for example, without interacting with your friends, without having Facebook or social account in Instagram or the TT. I'm not sure whether that's the correct things. Maybe TikTok. I'm not sure that that is good or not, but maybe you know because you were born later. I mean, 2000 plus. Maybe you are this generation. So people are communicating in various ways. Okay, so that's the hormones. So if you can see some of the hormones, they can be in the form of steroid hormones in the blue. Okay, look at the right hand side in the screen, steroid hormone in blue. They can act on the plasma membrane of the cell, or they can just directly bind to the nucleus of the cells. So that is the unique way of the steroid hormone. Different hormones can act differently because they have a different structure, different components. So of course, their activity or the functions is different. Okay, so you have the non-steroid hormones. Of course, you know about this. The non-steroid hormones relates with the polypeptide or maybe a protein-based hormones. If you look down in the screen at A, hydrophilic messenger, you have the endocrine cell. I give example, for example, pancreas. It secretes insulin, and then the insulin goes into the blood vessel, and then they will go to any location that they want. All right. On the right hand side, hydrophobic messenger means the molecules that has been secreted or the hormones, they are hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means they are water repellents or phobia to the water. They don't like the water that much. All right, but they still can be secreted into the bloodstream. All right. So for the non-steroid hormones, aka protein hormone, they are water soluble. Okay, protein, they are water soluble. But steroid or the lipid or the fat-based hormones, they are not water soluble. That's why we classify them as a hydrophobic or hydrophilic hormones. Okay. All right. So we move on to the chemical natures of the hormone. Can you see the screen, or is it disturbing you? I'm not sure whether this is. Can you see anything?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so this is another type of example. If you look at the thyroid, so the thyroid functions to produce what type of hormones? Anyone? It's T3 or T4. Okay, so the thyroid gland functions to produce the T3 and T4 hormones. Any changes in this type of hormones can lead to severe condition. You can get the hyperthyroidism or you can get hypothyroidism. If too low T3 and T4 in the blood, okay, if these two molecules or two hormones very lowly expressed or lowly secreted into your blood, it can lead to hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism means very low level of the T3 and T4. But in case of the thyroid gland of your body producing more T3 and T4, we call it hyperthyroidism. And these two symptoms are very different. They are not the same. All right. So the hyperthyroidism mostly been associated or being called as the grave disease because it's very high level of thyroxine. I provided here some of the symptoms that you can get: sweating, you get strong and rapid pulse, you got hot adenoma, okay, you get atrial fibrillation. But if you're experiencing hypothyroidism, you have very weak heartbeat. Look at your body. Your body is like become bigger at the bottom, at the belly. You will suffer from depression. You have cold and dry skin, very high LDL, constipation. So a slight change of the T3 and T4 hormones aka thyroid hormones, it can give rise to a different symptoms. All right, so this is just an example to illustrate this. And another lipid-based hormones, as I mentioned here, adrenal gland that is located on top of your kidney. Okay, there are two level. I think this is here, maybe they call it two main level, I think. So two main portion or segments. The first one is the medulla. The second one is the cortex of the adrenal gland. The cortex is the top layer and the medulla is the inner layer. Each layer are producing different type of hormones. Okay, adrenal gland is not part of the kidney. It's an endocrine gland. Okay, it's like the thymus, it's like the thyroid gland. It's not a part of the kidney. It's not included in the kidney. If you mention the kidney, no, the kidney does not produce these hormones that being secreted by the adrenal gland. Okay, so we have zona glomerulosa, fasciculata, reticularis in the cortex. Okay, in the cortex have three more different layers and they have different functions. Okay, they have different types of hormones that they can secrete. And then you have the adrenal medulla. So the adrenal medulla, you can see it's producing the epinephrine and norepinephrine. All right. Okay, so this is the chemical natures of the hormones. How can I push this bit? Okay, everyone already got asleep? It's time to sleep already? Not yet? Okay, so we have another maybe 10 to 15 minutes, okay, before we end for the quiz. So this is the pituitary gland. If you can look in green, if your body producing too little, if your body producing too little here, you become shorter. If you got the right amount, of course, you got the right body shape. If it's too much growth hormone, you become gigantic. Okay, it's gigantism. It's a type of hormonal manifestation or condition. All right, another important aspect is the hormone will act as the second messenger. Okay, it gives the information, it signals your cells what to do next. Okay, so it's important for you to know the cascade or step-by-step process. Why the hormone being called as the second messenger? It can be as the first messenger, and also at the same time, it can extend it to become the second messenger. Let's have a look. If your body is excreting the peptide-based hormone, which is water-soluble hormone here in the blood, in the yellow triangle here, yes, so it will start to be secreted together in the bloodstream, and then it will be excreted out from the bloodstream here into the cells. Okay, it gets into the cell. You know that the cell have the nucleus, which contains the genetic information of your body, like the DNAs. Okay, DNA and RNA. RNA has already been secreted in the cytoplasm plus the protein. What I'm going to show to you here is the process, one by one process. So number one is where the water-soluble hormones are membrane insoluble. Membrane insoluble means they cannot penetrate the membrane, so they cannot be diluted. Okay, so one thing that they can act as the second messenger is that they bind to certain receptors. Okay, so this slide is very different from the one that I've mentioned you earlier, where the hormones can act as the first messenger because they can just directly bind to any tissues that they want. But this one, if it's act as a second messenger, means there is an alternative way for the hormones to bind to cells, but still giving the activity. One of the way is that they bind to the receptor of the cells. Okay, so the binding activates a G protein in the cells. Okay, so the G proteins is another type of protein that is available on the cells. Okay, it can be here, here, and all scattered around. So the G protein inside the cells become activated. All right, so the G protein will activate an enzyme, we call it adenylyl cyclase, in purple here. Okay, so why do you need to activate the adenylyl cyclase? Because you want energy. Okay, adenylyl cyclase is a type of enzyme inside your cells that functions to convert the ATP to the CAMP. ATP is 3 molecules, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, that's energy source of your body. It converts into cyclin adenomonophosphate. I think this is a one molecule only. Okay, so it converts the ATP to the CAMP. So that's the functions of adenylyl cyclase. So this is a step-by-step process. It's not as easy as the previous slide that I've mentioned. So inside the cells, the CAMP, once they have been produced, it will further activate another activity of protein kinases. Okay, so it activates another enzyme, we call it protein kinases, and these activated protein kinases will further facilitate the phosphorylations of proteins in the cytoplasm of the cells in yellow. Okay, so this activate these proteins, allowing them to alter the cell activity. Maybe at your level, this is not that important, but just to illustrate to you that there is lots of activities that the hormones molecules, that the hormone molecule can activate, and without you knowing the activity. So this is one of the complicated activity that is occurring inside the cells to exert the activity. What you see in your body is that the changes or the symptoms, but actually in the real condition, this is the thing that is happening. All right, so ATP been converted to the ADP again, plus another phosphate group to become ATP again. It will convert the inactive protein to become a active protein. So what you want to see at the final activity is an activated protein, so that this activated protein will activate your function of interest, whether it's increasing your heartbeat, or it's increasing your sweating, or increasing the palpitation, you name it. Okay, so we want an activated functioning protein. But if your body telling you that no, you don't need this, so they will just inhibit. No protein will be secreted, no protein will be produced. Okay, when I mention the protein here, it's the signal. Okay, it's a hormone, it's a second messenger. Okay, I hope it's clear for now. So this is the what we call and very difficult for you to digest slide, and very busy slide. I will just skip for this at the moment, because I don't think at this time, if I explain it to you, then you will have 100% focus. But you can read through for this detailed information. This is the continuation from the previous slide, if you want to get to know better. But this is not important at your stage in year 1, just to tell you what the process that is happening. I will not ask this in the quizzes or in the examination. So this is the other type, just to illustrate you the hormones as the second messenger. It can be of the class 1, class 2, or class 3 receptor. Okay, so there are different type of receptor. You can imagine that here, this one is the plasma membrane or the plasma wall of your cells. Okay, the plasma membrane, cell wall. Okay, so any proteins or any hormones that want to give any activities on your cells, they must go through this cell structure. Okay, the plasma membranes, the lipid bilayer. Okay, some polypeptide can pass through if they are small enough to pass through, but if they are big or if they are lipids, some of them will not be allowed to pass through. So what they do is that they just bind to this layer, plasma layer, and then they are depending on the certain type of receptors. Okay, so this is the 3 different class of receptors that is possible for the hormones to bind to. Okay, by binding to this receptor, it is possible to give the activity. If the hormones cannot bind to this receptor, that is impossible for the activity to get carried on. Okay, so it is an important and essential molecule for each of the cells to have these 3 type of receptor to allow the hormones to become functioning. All right. The target cell concept. Yes, this is the circulating hormone, as I mentioned. What happens if the hormones want to target organs that is very far away? Because you can imagine the hormones from your brain need to become need to release releasing hormones or releasing factor to bind to your thyroid, for example, to bind to your liver, and then from the liver they want to go to the kidney. So there's a very long journey. So there are ways for them to get carried on. Okay, they can get transported, but of course, due to the long distance, they will require longer time to reach the destination. One of the ways is that they've been secreted in the blood vessel. As I mentioned earlier, from the endocrine cells, they can just secrete it into the blood. Okay, but some of the hormones, they don't need this. Maybe they can just secrete it into the environment. They don't need the circulating environment like the blood vessel. Okay, they can just act on the tissues directly. And this is either autocrine or paracrine activity. Autocrine means pancreatic cells, they produce insulin that further act on their own cells. Okay, act on the other pancreas cell, which is neighboring, means the same cell. That's why we call it autocrine. Autocrine means automatically, or it's on their own cell. But paracrine is another target cells. For example, if your pancreas is producing insulin, the insulin will bind to the liver. So that is paracrine. They are the hormones that binds to the neighboring tissues or organs. Okay, but for the autocrine, the same pancreas that produce insulin, this insulin will later act on their own self or their own pancreas again. Okay, so that is the target cell concept. For the classification of hormone, you can read this. As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 main hormones. That one are the protein based, the other one is the lipid based. And of course, you can read through. We can classify them based on group 1 or group 2. Okay, so these are all the same thing. You can read through. This is just the explanation, the details. Is not far from what I have shown to you before. So the ACTH, all the things that I mentioned earlier has been described here. Now, what I want you to do is that you can go to the iTalim, because we're gonna have some quiz. Okay, the slide that I mentioned here all has been provided in the iTalim too. If you got any issues, if you don't understand, we will conduct another class to explain for the hormones, how did they get transported. I am available at any time if we can get a consensus to have this another extra class to explain to you, because one class is not enough for me to explain the whole slide, but just to show you that the main concept is there. The continuation slide is always the explanation that I wish to show you or explain to you, but mainly they are all the same thing. Okay, don't go a bit detailed like this slide. This is not at your level. This is a master's or PhD level. Okay, but just to illustrate, just take the information that I have described to you in detail and make you understand. The explanation that you don't understand or which is not related, you can just ignore it. Okay, so like this slide, you don't need to focus, because I will not ask it in the examination. Okay, so maybe you can read this a few other slides, mainly related with the insulin and also the glucagon with the thyroxine hormones. You can read all this through, inshallah, then you can understand it. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to the next agenda. We will continue with the quizzes. Hopefully you can open the iTalim. Are you all online?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Online.
Yes, I know you're sleepy now. Now your melatonin level is increasing. Can you find the quiz? Anyone?
No, doctor.
What happened? Doesn't show up.
Doctor, yeah, we can't find the quiz.
Let me try to check again. Okay, I will open the quiz. Okay, can you see the quiz in your iTalim Biochemistry?
Got.
Very good. So, can you access it? Can you access it or not?
Yes.
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 Very good. Okay, can you answer it? You can answer it now, based on what you have learned today.
Sir, it says you are not allowed to attempt this quiz at this time because this quiz is not currently available.
What happened? You don't want the quiz?
It says here you are not allowed to attempt this quiz at this time because the quiz is not currently available.
Refresh again, and you can do. Don't forget to click the attendance too, all right? Attendance for hormones. This is attendance for the quiz.
Okay, dapat sir.
Very good. You got a very limited time to answer the quiz. We got 17 questions. Just 10 minutes from now. So we will end 10 p.m., okay? We got 76 people online. If you got any issues, just let me know. Just answer the question. Just stay online. Once you finish, then just let me know. You're still not finished, okay? Okay, you got 1 more minute.
Doctor.
Yes, anything?
Yes, the quiz is finished, but I think most, if not all of us, didn't get to finish all of them on time. I think 10 minutes is a bit too short.
So how long do you want?
Maybe 20.
Maybe 20. Okay. So how many people cannot finish on time? Raise up your hand using the button. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. How many? Only 10 people. I think this is only 10% of you. With 10. Okay, some of them, both hands. Some are clapping. You want more question? So if I add more question means more time. Is that okay? Or you just want more time only?
Yes, more time.
Yes, more time.
Time, sir.
Yeah, we need more time.
More time only.
Time.
Why should I give you more time?
Because we
Give some reason. Why should I give you more time?
Some of the
Because
questions need a bit more time to understanding.
How long is the more time?
20 minutes is, I think, is pretty good.
20 minutes from now. It's already bedtime. Maybe we'll try it the next time, okay?
okay.
All right.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So, Doctor, will this quiz be counted?
We'll see how good you perform for tonight.
Aiyo.
I hope not.
You want this to be included in your final examination?
No, no, no.
No.
Very good.
No.
You don't want it, yeah. You don't happy. You're not happy with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we will see. If you want, don't cry, don't cry. We still have time. It's not the end of the world. So we try to arrange another session, yeah, for the quiz. Okay. Don't worry about today's quiz. It's only just a kickstart for you to get the concept of the hormones. Okay. Later on, we will discuss further. If you got any question, then just let me know. Any more question? Any question? There's no stupid question. It's only stupid answers. So you are free to ask me anything if you don't understand. Okay?
Doctor,
Yeah.
that is quiz for Karima.
Carry. What do you say?
Karima.
Carry mark. The carry mark. Yes.
That is,
What do you say?
Is this quiz will be
That's for
included in
our
the carry
Karima.
mark?
It's up to you. You want it to be included or you don't want
No.
it?
No, we don't want to.
Can we
Okay.
have a re-quiz later?
Yes. If you don't want it, yes.
Doctor,
Yeah. Yeah.
can you share the tips on how to study this subject?
You want to study the subject?
No, means how to understand more about this subject.
Basically, if you have class, maybe you can ask the lecturer to give your slide first, and then you can get through the slide. And when you go to the real class, then you can get more understanding. That is one way. The second method is try to make a small working, what we call group. Okay, small working group among yourself. Like maybe a group of 5, 10 is too much, but 5 is okay for you to discuss. That's why in your case, I think you will have the PBL, right? So the PBL is the place for you to understand this better. Okay, so you will understand what your lecturer is talking about during the lecture. And if you don't understand still, you can ask anytime. Don't feel afraid. If you don't understand it, just ask. Because we will put some of the very hard information for you to digest, plus a moderate information, plus a very easy for you to digest. Okay, so there are a mixture of information. We want you to learn, okay, to grab things that is most important. Okay, so if you can study alone, that's fine. But my suggestion is to form a very smart, working smart group. What do we call it during asrama time, during your time? You have a prep, right? You have a small group that you can discuss together. And that can enhance your understanding. Only the focus on those people who are serious to learn and to understand, to study. And most of my questions are exactly from what I have told you. Okay, if I don't teach you that type of thing, you can argue, you can tell me that, doctor, you are not teaching me this topic. So we can just ignore it. Okay, of course, by reading, if you want to know, you can just Google it. Okay, you can read through papers, but I don't, at your level, I'm not suggesting paper. Instead, I'm suggesting you to read the textbook. Okay, the textbook that we have put in the course outline, try to find it, maybe the soft copy, or if you got the hard copy, read it through, and that can boost your understanding too. Okay, another thing is that maybe if you don't understand this time, next time you can arrange a consultation with me. Okay, maybe the whole class want to have extra class with me to really understand further. We can do that, either online or physical. Our most what we call it, the enemy is that only the time, because I'm a bit occupied towards the end of the year. That's why I cannot attend to your class for every section. So it's quite important for you to set up the time very efficiently and let me know when you are free, and try to arrange with me, maybe through your class rep, and then we can arrange it, because I'm leaving the country maybe in January. So I want to finish all the class in December. So I need to cram up all these lectures as soon as possible. Okay, if you don't understand, you can text me, you can email me at any time. I will drop you my email in case you need any help. If you don't understand, maybe I'm using very alien language that you cannot understand or digest, or if you want me to mix between Malay and English, also can. Okay, I leave you my number, but please do not share it with some other people. Okay, make sure you let me know what's your name. Okay, what are the question that you want to ask. You can text me. If you shy, you can just tell from which section you are. Okay, any way that I can help you, I will try to help I will try my best to help you. Okay, don't bother about the quiz. It's just an exercise. If you don't want it to be included in your carry marks, that's fine. We will find another time where you get more ready and you are confident to answer my quiz. Okay, good everyone. Okay, your melatonin is now increasing. You need to go to bed. If you're not praying, just go and pray, offer the prayer, and then just quickly go to sleep. And make sure you switch off everything, the lights, okay, because it's a part of sunnah to sleep in the dark. Okay, make sure your body is in a good shape. Okay, do not open the light when you're sleeping, because it can disturb your hormones too. Okay, tomorrow maybe you will feel very tired because you are giving the signals, or the the photon and can accelerate your cellular activity, even though you are sleeping, but your body are working. So we don't want that to happen. Okay, switch off the light, pray, offer some prayer, and then make some dua. Tomorrow you will become fresh, and you can go to the class in a fresh condition. All right, and that's only my suggestion for tonight. Till we meet again, Good, everyone. Hopefully you enjoy the class with me. Maybe if you want more class, we can arrange later, maybe a shorter time, half an hour, just to have a discussion. Or if you just focus on the topic that you want me to describe. I will look at the attendance later on, but if your friend could not attend this class, just let them know to notify me. Okay, let me know that, give the names and everything, so that I know who is not coming to the class, because maybe you have some issues and your friend have some problems. Maybe I need to conduct a separate class for them or discuss with them. Okay, give some reason why you cannot attend the class. All right, don't say you are lazy to attend the class. Okay, don't say that you are watching any Korean drama or anything, something like that. Okay, give a solid reason why you cannot attend my class, so that I can replace it next time you can score in your examination. We close the session by recitation of Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul Asr. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. We will meet again, everyone. Take care. All right. See you again. Yes. Anything?
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think for the I attend, some of my classmates, if not other classmates from the other section, I think they're unable to access the I attend.
The I attend is only up to 10 p.m. So it's already closed. So let them know what happened. Okay, I give you my number already, give my email already. So you just let me know. So those who cannot attend just now or cannot log in, just tell me the reason why you cannot attend. Okay. All right, because I already shared the link earlier. So I don't want this to happen again. So if I can help you to rectify, it's better. So next time when you got the link, then you can just immediately log in and click your attendance. All right. Don't worry too much about the attendance. You will not be penalized on that. Just let me know who are not attending the class. Alternatively, you can go to the YouTube, type Tengku Faris, IUM or something, then you can have this live streaming copy of this class. All right, everyone?
All right, sir.
Good. I will stop the live stream. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.